Okay, so you're not going to believe this, but a team of astronomers just dropped an absolute bombshell that could be one of the biggest discoveries in decades. They've detected a possible sign of life on another planet. And get this, it's not Mars, it's Venus. Yeah, Venus. So let's break down what is really going on here.
So yeah, this is the big one, right? Did we actually just find life on our celestial neighbor? I mean, that is an extraordinary claim, and you know what they say, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So, let's investigate. We're going to look at the data, the doubts, and what this could mean for, well, everything.
And what makes this just so shocking is that, let's be honest, Venus has always been written off as a complete and utter hellscape. I mean, all our attention, all the rovers, all the hype, it's been on Mars as the next best hope for finding life. So how in the world could anything possibly survive on a place like Venus?
Okay, so this is where the story gets really weird. Down on the surface, yeah, Venus is absolutely brutal. We're talking 460 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead. And the pressure? It would crush you like you were a kilometer deep in the ocean. No thanks. But, and this is the key, you go up about 50 kilometers, up into the clouds, and everything changes. The temperature drops to a nice, comfy 30 degrees Celsius. And the pressure, well, it becomes surprisingly Earth-like.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Life in the clouds? That sounds like pure science fiction, right? Well, think again. We actually have our own cloud creatures right here on Earth. Scientists estimate there's something like 2 million tons of bacteria and other microbes just floating around in our atmosphere. So the precedent? It's already there.
Okay, but hold on. The clouds on Venus are made of sulfuric acid. I mean, that sounds deadly, right? Well, back here on Earth, we have these amazing little creatures called acidophiles. They're a type of extremophile that has literally evolved to thrive in horrifically acidic conditions. It just goes to show you life finds a way.
So, how could this have happened? Well, here's a pretty plausible backstory. Computer simulations suggest that Venus wasn't always this awful place. It might have had liquid water for something like 3 billion years. But then, about 750 million years ago, some kind of catastrophic volcanic event just resurfaced the whole planet and boiled its oceans away. So the theory goes that if life did exist back then, its only chance for survival was to adapt, to retreat up into that nice, temperate, habitable layer of the clouds.
All right, so we've set the stage, we've got a plausible scenario for how life could be there. But what's the actual evidence? What did they find? Well, it all comes down to the detection of one single, very, very special molecule.
And that molecule is called phosphine. Now, here on Earth, phosphine is almost exclusively produced by life. We're talking about specific kinds of bacteria that live in oxygen-free environments. The point is, it's not something that just appears. You don't just find it lying around.
And the reason this is such a huge deal is because phosphine is considered a really powerful biosignature. A biosignature is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a sign of biology. It's a chemical that screams, life might be here. A good way to think about it is like this. Oxygen in our atmosphere is a biosignature for photosynthesis, while on Venus, phosphine could be the signature for biology.
And look, this wasn't some faint, maybe we saw something kind of detection. The team reported a statistical significance of 15 sigma. Now, unless you're a particle physicist, that number probably doesn't mean much. So let me be super clear. That is an astronomically, almost absurdly high level of confidence.
To put that 15 sigma number into perspective for you, just think about this. The huge, groundbreaking discovery of the Higgs boson, the one that won a Nobel Prize, that was announced at 5 sigma. So this detection, at least on paper, is statistically way more secure than that. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Okay, but as incredibly exciting as all of this sounds, this is science, and science demands skepticism. So before we all start celebrating, we really have to pump the brakes and look at the very real reasons for caution.
And you know who's being the most cautious? The research team themselves. They're the first ones to urge caution. In their own paper, they say, and this is a quote, that this is not robust evidence for life, only for anomalous and unexplained chemistry. Basically, they're saying, hey, we found something really weird that we can't explain. Life is one possibility, but just one.
And other experts totally agree. Dr. Caleb Shaw from the Columbia Astrobiology Center, he put it perfectly. He said he's cautiously excited. And he really emphasized that a lot more steps have to happen before you can really convince the scientific community that this is the real deal.
So, yeah, getting from unexplained chemistry all the way to alien life, that requires clearing some pretty major hurdles.
For instance, could some totally unknown, non-biological chemical process be creating this phosphine? Absolutely. Does this result need to be confirmed by other scientists using other telescopes? 100%. And maybe most importantly, we have to remember we've been here before. We've seen other high-confidence signals, like those infamous faster-than-light neutrinos that turned out to be, well, just a mistake.
So the case is definitely far from closed. But you know what? This is what science is all about. It's about facing a profound mystery and then laying out a clear, logical path to find the answer.
And that path forward has 3 main steps. Step 1, confirm. We need other teams to look and verify that this signal is actually real. Step 2, model. Theorists need to get to work and try to exhaust every single possible non-biological explanation they can think of. And then there's step 3, the most exciting one, explore. We actually have to go there.
Because look, as good as our telescopes are, as good as our remote sensing is, to be absolutely 100% sure, you just have to be there. You know, like they'd say in Star Trek, you just can't beat sending an away team. A probe that can actually fly into those clouds, scoop up a sample, and analyze it right there on the spot. That's really the only way we're going to get a definitive answer.
And that brings us to the final, really profound question that this whole discovery forces us to ask. If life is really there, did it start completely independently from life here on Earth? I mean, a second genesis, right here in our own solar system. Because if life started twice, just in our own little backyard, that would suggest that the cosmos is absolutely teeming with it. What an unbelievably exciting time to be alive.